Okay guys, so from last night's homework, you had 6.3. There was a lot of questions on sum of an infinite geometric series and how to figure that out. So here's the formula. This is the guy you need to know right here. A sub 1, we know what that is. R is our common ratio. So let's say I had an example. The sum of infinity, my first term is, or n is equal to 1. I have 4 times 0.6 to the n minus 1. Okay, well, I can use a calculator for this, but I can also use my formula to figure it out. And the way that's going to work is I'm going to take 4 times 0.6 to the n minus 1. Well, n starts with 1, so 1 minus 1, which is 0. So I have 4 times 0.6 to the 0 power, which is equal to 1. So I'm going to have 4. Okay, that's term 1. And then I have 4 times 0.6 2 minus 1, which is 1. So 4 times 0.6 to the first. And then I'm going to have 4 times 0.06 squared, yada, yada, yada. Okay, and that's my series right there. So the way that I write this out is I take my a sub 1, which we figured out is 4, over my 1 minus my common difference. Well, what am I multiplying by basically every single time here? The 0.6, right? Every time I multiply by 0.06, it gets bigger, bigger, bigger. So 1 minus 0.06. Well, that's going to be 4 over 0.94, which is equal to 10. So that's my answer. The sum of this infinite geometric series is 10. Okay, well, let's look at a different one. We're going to do a couple examples of these because I really want you guys to understand what we're talking about here. So if you're looking at your homework from last night, let's look at number 59, page 523. We have the sum of infinity. We start at n equals 0, and we have 1/2 to the n power. Again, we want to find out what that first term is and the common difference, or the common ratio, excuse me. So we have 1/2. We start at 0 plus 1/2 to the first plus 1/2 squared plus 1/2 cubed, so on and so forth. Okay, well, this is going to be 1. So my a sub 1 is 1 plus 1/2 plus 1/4 plus 1/8, yada, yada, yada. And what my formula, again, is a sub 1 over 1 minus r. It's kind of an easy formula to remember, you guys. So a sub 1 is 1 over 1 minus my ratio. Well, my ratio, what am I multiplying by each time here? I'm multiplying by 1/2. So I'm going to have 1 over 1/2, which is equal to 2. And that's my answer. Okay, let's look at another one. Let's look at number 67. Okay, I have sum of infinity, n equals 0, -3, so 0.9 to the n equals, well, -3 times 0.9 to the 0 is going to just give me -3. That's my a sub 1. Plus -3 times 0.9 to the first. Plus -3 times 0.9 squared. So on and so forth. First term is -3. Second term is -3 times 0.09. Or, yeah, 0.9, excuse me. Plus -3 times 0.9 squared. Okay. a sub 1, again, use our formula here, is negative 3. Ooh, that was a beautiful 3. Is negative 3 over 1 minus my ratio. Well, what's my ratio? What am I doing each time? Well, it looks like I'm just multiplying by a 0.9. So I'm going to get negative 3 over 0.10, which is equal to negative 0.3. Okay, and that is my answer. That's the sum of all these guys added together. Okay, so that was 59 and 67. Let's go back and look at a couple other ones from homework last night just to make sure that we've got these down, because these are super important. Let's look at number 11. Number 11, I have a sub 1 equals 6 and r equals 3. Now, we're dealing with our geometric sequences. They're asking us for the first 5 terms. There's a formula that they've given us. That formula to find our terms, is a sub n equals a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. Okay, so let's plug all this in. I know what the first term is, 6. Let's find the second term. So a sub 2 equals a sub 1, which is 6, times r, which is 3, to the n minus 1, 2 minus 1. Well, that gives me 6 times 3, which is 18. That's my second term. My third term, 6 times 3 to the 3 minus 1, 6 times 3 squared, which is 9 times 6, 54. Okay, and then we have a sub 4, 6 times 3 to the 4 minus 1 equals 6 times 3 cubed. 6 times 27, don't know that off the top of my head, is 162. You'll notice there's a common theme here. Each one of these is being multiplied by 3. So if we multiplied 162 by 3, we should get our answer for our next one, which is 486. Okay, so that's how you find the first 5 terms of your sequence. You need to know what that first term is. A really good one that I liked was number 17. This one's a little tricky because it has to deal with E, and a question came up on whether or not you had to use a calculator for this. You actually don't. You have a sub 1 equals 1 and r equals E. Okay, again, here's our formula. I'm looking for the first 5 terms. So a sub 2 is equal to a sub 1, which is 1, times r to the n minus 1. Well, this becomes 1 times e to the first, which is just e. And I have the third term, a sub 3. 1 times e to the 3 minus 1. Well, that's 1 times e squared, which is just e squared. A sub 4, 1 times e to the 4 minus 1 is 1 times e cubed, which is e cubed. Okay? What's my fifth term going to be? E to the 4th. So my first terms, or my 5 terms, 1, e squared, e cubed, e to the 4th power. Okay? So, really good problem. And again, you don't need to use a calculator for it, but if you decide to, you can. You'll just have decimals in your final answer. Okay, let's look at numbers 19, 21, 23. Let's do number 21. And we have that our a sub 1 is equal to 9, and our a of k plus 1 is equal to 2 times a to the k. Okay, well, k is just a form of another variable. So let's say we were to plug 1 in here, then we would have a sub 2, right? So if I were to plug in 1 as my k, then I would get 2 times a sub 1. Well, a sub 1 is 9. So I get a sub 2 equals 2 times 9, which is 18. Okay, well, let's look for a sub 3. Well, it's a sub 2 plus 1 is 2 times a sub 2, which is 18. So then I get 36. From there, a sub 3 plus 1, well, that's 2 times 36, which is 72. Okay, so again, another way to find out your common ratio, your 5 terms, so on and so forth: 9, 18, 36, 72. 72 times 2 is 144. Okay, so on and so forth. So these ones, they might look a little tricky, but really what they're just saying is that you're looking for the first term, the second, third, fourth, fifth. And every time it's like adding 1 to your subcategory here. Okay, let's look at 33. It says find the indicated nth term of the geometric sequence. So we're looking for the 9th term. And they tell us that our first term is 7, second term is 21, and our third term is 63. We have a formula up here that says a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. That's the formula you're using down here. So a sub n is equal to a sub 1 times r to the n minus 1. I want the 9th term, so a sub 9 is equal to a sub 1, which is 7, times r, which in this case, what am I doing each time? Multiplying by 3. So 3n minus 1. So I get 7 times 3 to the 8th. And that is my 9th term, which 3 to the 8th, oh boy. Let's see. You guys are probably faster on your calculators than me. But 3 to the 8th is 6561 times 7 is equal to 45927. Okay, so there's a couple problems from your homework. If you have more questions, please do not hesitate to ask me. Again, it's really about knowing those formulas, and I cannot stress enough how important they are and how you will need to have them memorized for your test. Okay, so go ahead and put this away. We're going to be working on our 6.4 notes coming up next.